Well, what's up, everyone? It's Epidemics, and I'm bringing you part two of how Game of Thrones should have ended. I know it's a bit late, it's been a hectic month for me. Graduation was around the corner, finals. I have a bunch of excuses, so don't come at me. Now, let us begin from where we left off. So, Jon rides Rhaegal and sees, and so it's that scene where Jon and Dany kiss. This is before the battle. Then it's just preparing for the Battle of Winterfell, putting up the stakes, um, bringing up some strategies to put. But in the TV show, the strategies were shit. I mean, horses. Who puts cavalry in the front line? Come on, guys, play some Total War. Play, I don't know, any other game, and it will tell you never put cavalry in the freaking front. That's just absurd. Anyways, I'm not gonna change the strategies because a lot of people have done it on YouTube already, and I don't I don't have the energy to do that. So preparations for Winterfell begin, and then, well, Brandon tells Jon who he is, just like how it happened in episode 2 or 3. I think it was 2, episode 2. Bran and Sam tell him, and so Jon Snow knows, blah 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 blah. He doesn't tell Dany yet, though. That's one of the things that I changed from what happened in the episode. And then the Battle of Winterfell begins, so Jorah dies, all these people die, the same people die, nothing changes there. Also, how the Night King dies is because of Arya. I wouldn't change that either because it's too much of a fuckfest, so that's how Arya kills the Night King. And after the battle is over, Jon and Bran tell Sansa and Arya that Jon Snow is Aegon Targaryen. So that's what happened. And then Sansa, of course, tells everyone else that Jon Snow is a Targaryen. Everyone at Winterfell, at least, couldn't keep her mouth shut. And Jon Snow tells Daenerys, like a fool, tells Daenerys, "Oh, I'm a Targaryen too, haha, you're not the last one." And then Dany gets all pissed and she's like, "Excuse me? No, I'm the only Targaryen. Because if you are a Targaryen, that makes you the last male Targaryen, the true heir to the Iron Throne." Jon Snow doesn't figure this out. I don't know, he's just a bit slow in the TV show. Um, so what happens after that? Dany is super angry that she just flies off. She goes to King's Landing because you gotta remember, King's Landing is done with. She conquered it all, and she doesn't have anyone to be afraid of. So she takes the Unsullied and her dragons to King's Landing, and on her way to King's Landing, guess who's waiting for her? Because Euron, I didn't mention Euron, but Euron didn't die. He's still alive with some of his ships. And so what happens is Euron kills Rhaegal. Another motivation, another factor of which Dany goes mad. Dany gives her famous Hitler speech to her soldiers. And so she mentions how there are still traitors in Westeros, how there's still enemies, how there are pretenders to the throne. She appoints some Dothraki warlord as warden in the north, and demands that the Stark family move to King's Landing. She imprisons Sansa and announces her engagement to Jon Snow without Jon Snow's consent. And, you know, Tyrion is kind of he's a bit iffy about it. So is Jon. Jon had no idea, so he was even more terrified of what was happening to Dany because they haven't had a good relationship for a few minutes. The whole killing people and stuff. Varys knows about Jon Snow and who he really is. He's Aegon Targaryen. So he starts sending out ravens because he feels that Dany is becoming like her father, the Mad Queen. Dany finds out and executes Varys. Now Jon Snow doesn't know how to react. He's really scared now. So he takes Tyrion's advice, and in the scene in the throne, he kills Daenerys. So the Unsullied captured Tyrion and Jon as the conspirators and the perpetrator of the murder. The Dothraki respect strength. So when they find out that Jon kills Daenerys, he becomes the new Khal. Tension grows between the Dothraki and the Unsullied within the city. Armies outside of King's Landing, led by Sansa, the Vale, the Reach, Dorne, even the Westerlands, they're all outside the gates. But they were brought together by Brandon Stark. As a three-eyed raven, he has a lot of power. He sent out messages. He was able to persuade everyone to come to King's Landing to save his brother. Jon tries to negotiate with his captors, the Unsullied, but to no avail. Jon and Grey Worm duel in the Dragon Pit. Grey Worm dies, being the inferior swordsman. Jon does not want the throne, and he says so when he has a meeting with Brandon and every other lord in the Dragon Pit, after they're allowed in. Jon Snow declares that Brandon should be king. There are a few objections, specifically from Sansa, who wants to be free, wants the North to be free, but the majority says okay, because he was the one who brought everyone together to King's Landing to decide upon who the new king was going to be. Brandon says that the North will not be free, and they are part of the Seven Kingdoms. He also pardons Jon for killing Daenerys. And after that, Jon doesn't really want to do anything in Westeros. He just wants to leave. So does Arya. And Sansa takes the opportunity and asks Brandon for her to be named Lady of Winterfell, so she is. Arya says her goodbyes, and then she sails west of Westeros. And Jon Snow, as the new Khal, he prepares the Dothraki to sail east to Essos, see what's there. Maybe he'll go to Meereen, tell Daario Naharis what happened to Daenerys Targaryen, and so the council meeting scene happens as it did in season 8 in the end, and one of the final shots is Jon Snow smiling back at King's Landing. Then he looks straight ahead and sees Drogon. He mounts Drogon and sails to Essos. He flies to Essos. And so this scene would mimic the Winds of Winter when Dany was traveling to Westeros. And that's how it would end. And I'm sorry everyone that this took forever. I was a bit busy. I was on vacation, school ended, blah 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 blah, and it's a few months late, but I hope you guys enjoy. If you watched it all, please like and subscribe. Thank you.